Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Welcome to JLA Act of God, an Elseworld story about the Justice League during the height of Justice League's renaissance when Grant Morrison came on board and revolutionized the League, gave us the 07 real deal Justice League stuff, and then Doug Mensch came in and told this story. It's also drawn by Dave Ross. Here we go.
You seem really excited about
I'm
this.
thrilled to talk about JLA Act of God because it's an Elseworld story, and it's okay. So I love Elseworld stories,
Yeah.
even if 90% of them are terrible. And it's all about the potential. It's always about the possibility of what Elseworlds is. In fact, in the very Elseworlds books themselves, there is a mantra that explains, in Elseworlds, heroes are taken from their usual settings and put into strange times and places. Some that have existed, others that can't, couldn't, or shouldn't exist. The result is stories that make characters who are as familiar as yesterday seem as fresh as tomorrow. I'm just like, yes! So Elseworlds has the potential to be awesome. And at this point in 2001, Elseworlds had expanded to the point where Doug Mensch could do 3 Elseworld-sized chapters for one story, whereas when I was reading Elseworlds younger than that...
One and done.
One and done. One volume of this would have been the entire thing.
Oh, that's funny, because a lot of the ones I have like random books like this. I only have like one or two of them.
Yeah, the later ones, they'll go, well, there needs to be more. You got to give it more time.
Yeah, we have to get to Martian Manhunter with a belt of skulls.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. You know what? I'm not going to say what I thought was happening because it's totally a Ben thought. I realize now.
What you had?
What I thought was happening.
Okay, we can cut this out. I want to know what
what
you
is
thought
it?
of Ben thought
I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I think he's cut in two and there's like something like parasites or something bubbling out of him.
No. It's much
I could
worse.
see that.
Okay,
That would be
right?
neat.
Because there's the red sash, which kind of looks like it would be blood.
Yeah, but like...
No, I get that.
I was like, that's really... Okay, I'm interested. I'm like, Aquaman's on the front. He's pretty prevalent. Maybe it's some sea horror that occurred, but now I see it's definitely a belt of skulls.
Yeah.
Also, is that Aquaman on the back with a robot hand?
Yes.
I just assumed it was.
Because he can't just have a normal hand anymore,
Well, he
apparently.
lost his hand. JLA Act of God takes place during the Morrison era of Justice League, but it skips a few things.
If it's an Elseworlds, it doesn't have to adhere to anything.
It doesn't, but we want to have the framework of familiarity. So Aquaman has one hand, but Superman has neither a mullet nor any electric blue powers.
Well, that's better.
But everything else is more or less what you remember. And if there's anything that is inconsistent with itself, that's because it's an Elseworld story, and that's why. It's not because I forgot. So shut up. So the story introduces the concept of like the heroes, particularly the powered ones, and look at how they are able to do what they can do. There's a dam that's breaking. Superman goes up there. He's using his heat vision to seal the cracks.
Wouldn't it be funny if they're like, he uses his laser eyes?
Yeah.
I mean,
Because it's an Elseworld.
Right, because they're laser eyes, not heat vision. So the Flash is happening on a scene where a guy is shooting at a cop, and Green Lantern is going to stop a villain who is so important to the story because of the arc that Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern, must go through, but compared to that character's appearance in DC Comics as a whole, is wholly irrelevant and completely unimportant to anyone's story.
Steel exists.
Yes. Don't forget Steel exists, and he's really important because
He's not
Steel-
doing anything except flying through the sky.
Yeah,
Wee.
that's what he does.
He's here.
He's here.
That's enough.
There are a few characters that are here, and that is enough. That's all we need to do is establish they're here. But look at these characters with their powers.
You have everyone doing something. Just give Steel a villain to fight. Give him a crime to stop.
Trust me, they will. Steel is really important to part one of this story. We also see characters like Metamorpho, who is using his ability to transform into different elements and has turned his arm into a diamond-tipped drill that he's using to excavate because he used to be an archaeologist. And there's a building that's going to fall down, and Captain Marvel Now Shazam is trying to hold it up.
Can I ask a question? When a character like Metamorpho turns himself into things, is it like at the molecular
Yes.
level he's that?
Yes.
So like, could he destabilize like entire diamond trades just by doing that? If they like cut his arm off and
Only if they removed it. He can more or less only transform himself. He doesn't like make things that can have offshoots that fall off.
Right.
But if they cut, I think that if they severed his arm, it would revert back to Metamorpho's arm.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Like the T-1000.
Yes. Because he's so goopy. So we also see the Titans, and they're doing their thing, and they're fighting characters, and who gives a crap? Then this thing happens. And that's how much thought and effort goes into it. There's a wave. They call it the Blacklight event, which Ben has had a few of. And, you know.
I'm not gonna.
Oh, no!
What? No, those. You son of a bitch. I was thinking posters, man.
Oh, yeah.
Or like going to a club.
Right. No. I'm talking about...
DNA evidence.
That's right. This wave hits the Earth, and the Moon. And so every...
Wait, does it matter that it hit the moon?
Yes.
From where?
Space.
Just space.
Maybe God. That's right.
Tiffany, this is the techno wave.
So it came from a club far out in the middle of space.
The beat don't stop.
That's true. So the Moon and Earth are hit by this wave, which they'll later call the Blacklight event. And when it's done, all the technology turns off. No, it's not like Marvel's Dark Ages. The technology...
It sounds like it is.
I know,
It-
but
you
then it gets
just-
rebooted. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Like, they literally just go like...
It was like an
okay, it's fine.
EMP.
It's like an EMP, yeah. Like, everything is knocked out technologically. And anyone who has a superpower doesn't anymore.
And Batman's like, welcome to
Freeze.
my world, bitches!
Yeah, everyone's powers are turned off. Like, Starfire is fighting people, and now she's like, well, now I just feel ridiculous dressed like this.
But people are still aliens, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're a robot, you're still a robot.
Yes. Like, Cyborg Superman.
Yes.
You're a cyborg, but the powers you have are limited to being a cyborg. Like, Cyborg Superman could manipulate technology and infect it and jump consciousnesses into other technologies. Now he can't. He's just half a man.
So
Okay.
wait, okay, but like if you're an alien
Right. If you're like
and
John
you're just
Jones,
and you're just strong,
yeah, then you are as strong as your muscles dictate.
Like Superman's just a man and can't fly.
Right.
God, I hope he's still not flying at that point.
So, yeah, that's how that's the status quo that we are in.
that's kind of flimsy, and I guess I'll wait to judge its rules based on how things go.
Well, there aren't any. So Billy Batson turns off. Shazam / Captain Marvel gone. And is there an explanation? No, just Billy is Billy now. The building collapses. He gets out of the way. Rex Mason, Metamorpho, was drilling with his hands, and then suddenly he's like, ow! Now, his hand was going the speed of a drill, so
Yeah,
he should have, like,
it
severed his
sh-
arm
it should
or
be
anything.
mangled.
But instead, he just
Maybe
has...
it was one of those slow drills.
Right.
It's still twisting.
All
Yes.
he has are a couple of...
Twist.
He has
See,
some
my
bleeding
hand can do
knuckles.
that.
That's it. He's just like, oh. What the hell? Now, that being said, Metamorpho's always wanted to be human, so he's like, jackpot. And my knuckles are a little bleeding. Oh, no. That's
He's
it.
like, awesome, I had to find all the women. Where are you?
Well, yeah. So Steel, who was flying, just falls out of the sky because he was using his suit. Now, that's not a power. Also, technology turned off for a minute. That's all.
So planes are falling out of the sky?
Yes.
Crap.
But they...
Are submarines like sinking?
they don't,
So wait,
we don't show them.
Planes are falling out of the sky. Submarines are sinking.
Presumably.
People in hospitals are.
Yeah, their stuff turns off.
If someone's
then
on life support,
it turns off.
Nuclear reactors are dying.
They don't. But it doesn't come up. But it's only for a few seconds. Like technology is like. Meh.
you know, if you have like a whole bunch of patients on life support and then it turns off, do they have to turn it back on themselves?
I don't know. But also, Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern ring isn't working.
Right.
So he was fighting epic villain Sonar 2, the second Sonar. And
Okay, can we just talk about heroes and villains who choose to take up the moniker something too?
I know.
And how they need to stop that.
you're the next one.
Okay.
So just go with Sonar.
Either take that or come up with a new name.
Right.
But don't
Yeah.
add two to
Come
it.
up with Soundwave. There you go. Boom. Better name.
Yeah. So
Okay, maybe.
Aquaman is at the depths of the ocean. Now he's drowning. So he just swims to the surface and he's like, ooh, Flash.
He would get the bends and die.
That's true, but
Yeah.
he doesn't. So Flash is trying to outrun that bullet that's aimed and targeted and fired at a police officer, but now he can't run as fast. So the guy just gets headshotted and he's dead. And Flash is like, oh no! Superman realizes that there's planes falling out of the sky, tries to go up and get them, can't because he can't fly, then realizes the dam that was broken is breaking because he didn't get a chance to do enough to stop it, and so a town is flooded, and Superman's caught in the torrent that floods through the dam.
He's like, I don't know how to swim. I've never had to swim before.
That's not true. He didn't have powers, depending on which continuity you're going with, or did. Either way, as a child, he did learn how to do things like a regular person. Kyle Rayner gets his ass stomped by Sonar 2
Wait, why does Sonar have his power still?
because he has tech-based powers.
But didn't technology turn off?
It did, but then it turned right back on.
So wouldn't Steel stop plummeting from the sky?
He fell too fast. He was too close to the ground, you see. Sonar was standing and able-bodied. He was like, oh no, my sonar powers don't work right now. Oh wait, now they do.
Okay.
That's it. Aquaman finds a convenient piece of driftwood and is rescued by sailors, and
So then the planes aren't falling out of the sky after that?
no, we see that a plane that was falling out of the sky
Rights itself.
rights itself and its systems are back.
All of those people on board.
Just like, oh!
Oh, we're going down. Oh,
I need a bag, please, for the poop that I've just filled.
I need 2 bags.
sir, we all need bags, okay?
We're out of bags.
Ding!
So Sonar 2 just knocks the crap out of Kyle Rayner in a display that is just both pathetic and sad.
Well, can he punch him? Doesn't he have muscles?
He does. Well, clearly, you could see he's got a form-fitting costume, and yet he's been so reliant on the Green Lantern ring that he just lets Sonar beat the living crap out of him. Now, he doesn't want that to happen, but he's so used to relying on that ring that it happens.
Yeah. I love watching the Flash pant and wheeze.
Yeah, because he's trying to chase after that cop killer.
This is hard.
He literally is like that. Yes. I just can't run anymore. Superman sees his own blood and just loses it, like Superman would. And
Superman's never seen his own blood.
there's no way he hasn't. But it's Elseworlds, so in this reality, no, he's never seen it.
Nobody makes me believe my own blood.
That's right.
Nobody.
The town is destroyed that Superman failed to save, and they're all like, why, Superman? What are you doing? And we're like, down here with us. Why did you let us die?
That's fantastic because the entire world is just back to normal.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, we're just people.
Yes. Oh, when Superman gets swept up in the waves, by the way, he has one of my favorite exclamations that Superman's ever had in my life. Pain! I've never felt such pain!
That's just cold water, man.
Yeah, dude.
It's just chilly.
I can't believe that anyone would make Superman say that.
He's just like, he just runs it. How do you do this every day?
Yeah, they're like, oh, thanks. I guess Bill was right from Kill Bill. So Superman is just harrowed by the experience of losing his powers, failing to save the town, and then being mocked for it by the town.
Question, if you have magic-based powers,
Great question. They do address that. We will get to it.
Oh, okay.
In the meantime, Steel has recovered from his fall. He's in a hospital. He's being treated for his injuries. His niece is there. And there's a lot of setup where his niece is like, Steel, you're too damaged to get back into that costume. Plus, the costume's ruined. We got to take time to fix it. Like, we're setting up that she will be the next Steel. She is not.
she's Steel too.
Some of the characters that would step up and, in fact, have been Justice Leaguers before this need to step up again, but for whatever reason, they forget to be as capable as they were before Grant Morrison came along, and so people like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle show up going like, let's do this! We're awesome! We can
Wait,
do
so
this!
powers from the future are unaffected.
That is okay. Their plan is...
Where is Batman?
Where is Batman? He is on the Watchtower with literally every superhero. every superhero who has ever been a Justice Leaguer gets into the teleporter, because that's technology, and goes to the moon, to the Watchtower, and
they're all like, I lost my powers.
yeah, and they're all just bitching and moaning about it. John Jones gets a visit from Aquaman, who's like, John, I almost died in the ocean, and I love the ocean. You know how I am. I'm Aquaman and stuff. And John's like, and I can't transform back from being a Martian. I look like this, which we've said on the couch before, he should look like anyway.
Yeah, he looks
White
cool.
freaking deal.
Right, but yeah. And John gets into it.
He looks like if Metapod was a man.
Yes, he does.
I can't unsee that now.
Yeah, there you go.
This is the final form.
Yeah, that's his evolution.
Yeah, it's not, is it Butterfree? I think it's Butterfree.
I think you're right. So we see everybody's on the Watchtower. There's everybody. Oh, look at that. Even Damage is getting on the action. Warrior, Guy Gardner. He was Guy Gardner. Then he was Warrior. Now his alien-based powers gone. Now he just looks like an asshole, even though he did before. Steel goes to meet up with everybody. They're all just like, oh, man. And Steel's like, yo, I'm not quite ready to jump back into my steel armor, but like everyone who doesn't have power is going to have to step up. And I don't know what's going on, and I don't know when it's going to get fixed, if ever.
Maybe we could all get some bat gadgets to help us.
You'd think that would come up, and all that ever comes up in this chapter about Batman is we're going to have to learn to deal with it the way Batman has always.
Batman's like, thanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. Train for 20 years.
Exactly.
Okay, question one. How many billions of dollars do you all have?
Right. It's a three-step process to be Batman. How many of you have had your family tragically wrenched from you? Okay, quite a few.
Barry raises his hand
Step
too.
one, all right. Barry's dead. Number two.
Sorry,
How
Wally.
many of you are billionaires?
All those hands go down.
Ollie, I get you. All right, but you remember, you already have a gimmick. It's me with arrows. Anybody else?
No? Okay, we're screwed.
He's great because he also makes a list of all the characters that don't have powers, but have been capable heroes for years, including Black Canary. And I'm like, no. But this is Elseworlds. In this Elseworlds, Black Canary never had any powers. Now, there is a version of her pre-Crisis that didn't have powers, but everybody knows Black Canary has a sonic scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
Is this one of those things where it's like, you get the feeling Batman had a plan for this? Like, what if one day?
No.
Oh.
No. No. There are a lot of great ideas presented in this book.
Okay.
And that's all I'll say about that.
A contingency for nobody having powers is not one of them,
Right.
apparently.
Looks like I've got a whole space station full of Robins.
Here,
Instead,
put on these little shorts.
everybody put on your shorts, and then you can graduate to Nightwings. So, eventually. So Batman just goes like, all right, Oracle, you get on the whole everybody lost their powers, see what's going on, and who, like maybe somebody triggered a power-based EMP or something. Like maybe it was the machinations of a villain, or maybe it's just an act of God.
Superman, is it your birthday? Is this makes you spit like...
Superman's not here.
Does anyone feel like they have the Black Mercy on them?
Right.
And for some reason want this.
No, none of those things come up, and Superman's not at this party.
Right.
So
he's just
All right,
freaking
he's in
out.
pain.
he is, such pain. Oracle's like, all right, I'm gonna give it like 3 days. Like, I'm gonna guess that by 3 days I'll have figured it out. Arbitrarily.
She's like, because my super intelligence is not super based, so.
No. She literally says, I should be able to deliver the first report in, say, 72 hours. And then Martian Manhunter goes, thank you, Oracle, 3 days. We've got 3 days. And I'm like, whoa, don't just jump on that, okay? I said, I guess 72 hours. I didn't say, in 3 days, I'm going to give you hard evidence. So anyway.
I cannot look like this for 3 days. No one will accept me.
Yes.
John, we're all cool with you.
Yes, but the world isn't, and that's John's problem. We don't get to see the world react to that. John just assumes that. But a lot of people who are power-based, especially Wally, are really upset about it. And they're like, what are we gonna do?
Wally did watch someone get shot in the head.
He is the most traumatized.
And that's-
No, it's interesting. You'd think he'd be the most traumatized, but actually the most traumatized of all of this
Superman.
is Kyle Rayner and
Oh.
Superman. No, actually it's a competition, a dick measuring contest, if you will, between Flash, Superman, and Green Lantern. All three of them react horribly inappropriately to the situation, and it's a really gross interpretation of their characters. Moving on.
I feel like Flash is less horrible. I mean, like
He's just like, I saw a man's brains blasted out the back of his head. You get to go home. Okay, Wally.
you were turned into a cow. You may go home.
Exactly.
And the rest of you?
No, I'm good.
So Kyle goes home, and runs into his girlfriend, Jen or Jade, who was a Green Lantern, and she is an alien, but she was on Earth at the time, so now she's just a green chick.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but she also doesn't get to be a Green Lantern or have powers. So she's just kind of stuck in this apartment with this dude who refuses to take his Green Lantern costume off. And he is losing it. He's just like, if I'm not a Green Lantern, then what am I? She's like, well, you're a really great graphic designer. You're an artist. You are a spectacular
You're
lover.
my boyfriend?
Yeah, I don't
And,
understand what your problem is. And he's like, "Dah!" He's like throwing shit and breaking things.
He's like, well, I'm not powered anymore either.
right. And how do you live with yourself?
You don't see me losing it.
Shouldn't Diana be okay?
Diana is not okay because she lost her powers, as did any other Themyscirian.
Does she
Right.
turn into sand?
She does not turn into clay or anything.
But like, she loses her powers. Does that preclude her from fighting still? Doesn't she know how to use a sword or anything?
She could do all those things, but she would be the same equivalent as if any woman named Diana doing it.
Does her
Okay.
lasso of truth still work?
It doesn't come up.
Because it absolutely should.
Guy Gardner says, what about the supernatural geeks, like the Spectre or Dr. Fate or Zariel, who was the most recent creation of Grant Morrison's, and literal angel from heaven?
Yeah, let's not talk about any of the ones that we actually know.
No, and he is told, all among the missing, or at least no one's heard from them. And that is all the explanation for magic you will get.
Because they didn't want to deal with it.
Didn't want to
because
do it. I got 3 chapters to tell this story when Batman Holy Terror gets the equivalent of 1 issue.
Her powers should not really be gone.
They are.
And Shazam's really shouldn't be either. They're God-based.
Right. Well, but not the right God. Yeah. So Jean basically takes point and he's like, all right, everybody go home and try to... Imagine if this is forever and just see what you can do with it. Meanwhile, Superman goes home to his wife, fiance, whatever Lois would be at this point, and he just stares off into the middle distance, waiting for a sign or something. Meanwhile, the Toy Man...
You're dealing with this well, Clark.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Toy Man is like, I want to kill Lex Luthor. And I'm like, is that an aspect of his character? But he really, really wants to kill Lex Luthor, and he's never been able to because Superman's protected him. But now that there's no powers, maybe I can kill him now. So I'm going to go
Oh,
kill...
everybody knows?
Yeah. Well, they see it, and they speculate.
Sorry, Toy Man. Lex is still way smarter than you.
Yes. So he's like, I'm going to go kill Lex Luthor. Off I go. Meanwhile, there are a bunch of other villains who have been like, we are going to get together and just tear shit up. It's going to be awesome. In fact, we've been offered 2 jobs. 2 opposing jobs. Which one are we going to take? Well, which one pays more? Metallo is like, we're going to take both of them. We're going to take both jobs, one after the other, get paid twice. And it's like, that's fair. Also, you get to see the villains kind of like displaying, like Captain Cold being like, I'm good. I've always been this, and I have my freeze ray. And now I can kill any Flash I want. He doesn't do that or say that, but you imagine that's the subtext.
Yeah, but Parasite's all pissed off.
Parasite does not appear. But Cyborg Superman's here, and he's just like, yeah, and I'm heavier than normal. Like, I guess. I mean, he seems capable, though he shouldn't be. Because what is the powers of a man that is half robot? Cyborg, for example, member of the Titans, doesn't come up either. Because that's too complicated
I don't
want to answer.
I don't want to answer the hard questions.
Yes.
Okay.
So Superman, Clark, is talking to Lois about his ordeal.
He is Clark now.
Clark is like, Lois, you don't understand. And he's explaining the pain that he went through, such pain, but also the sounds when he was trapped. And all he could hear was like a cat dying and people screaming and the wails of the damned. Just all of this stuff. Yes, specifically, he heard like bones breaking, the wails of the unsavable, and a cat die.
Okay.
Like, which, admittedly, these are haunting sounds.
That really endears me to him. He specifically feels bad for the cat. Question: doesn't Superman hear that on the daily?
He should, but he usually turns it off or blocks it out or focuses on other things.
Oh,
Yeah,
so now
no,
he's
listen to
complaining
other
about
stuff.
that he can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, he doesn't have super hearing, so all he heard was the things that were in his general vicinity. But it was a lot of carnage around him.
Usually the things in my general vicinity are drowned out by the other things around the world I'm listening to.
Exactly.
Which are horrific and terrible, and I can't get to all of them all the time.
That's right. So he just is a mess of a person, but Lois tries to support him. Kyle freaks out.
She's like, there. You poor man.
I mean,
Now you'll just have to be a second-rate reporter.
yes. So we see a few characters try and pick up the slack, like Red Tornado, who's a robot man. Those aren't powers, that's science. And Nightwing and so
Yeah,
forth.
but does that mean he can still, like, make tornadoes?
Yes. That's just a consequence of his robot abilities, not powers. So
Nope.
everybody's
Okay.
doing their thing, trying to be heroic. Mr. Terrific has T-spheres and little pocket portals and stuff. So Mr. Terrific's helping out people like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. They're facing real badasses like Prometheus, who is a real badass that we've never talked about on the show, and I'm really excited to talk about him because there's 2 stories we need to do with him in it.
I guess Metatron would still be smart.
Never comes up. That's a new god. He wasn't on Earth. So actually, hey, great idea here. Apocalypse or New Genesis, either one invades Earth because now there's no powers. Doesn't come up because the new gods aren't very popular right now. So, but we see some players in here. We keep seeing Mr. Terrific would be a great opportunity to elevate that character a little bit. He shows up to bail out Booster Gold, but we're going to focus more on Booster Gold and Blue Beetle as the story continues. So they all kind of have weekly contingency meetings at the Watchtower because they all still have access to teleporters. So all the heroes, it's like an AA group. They all just meet at the Watchtower and go, still got no powers, yeah, and then they just cry and wank off.
John's like, I'm pretty sure I changed a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I saw some ridges or some lumps, and no, something moved. I'm getting it back.
Okay, Jean. Oracle's explaining to the heroes that the conversations going on in the world are not terribly favorable for them. Not many people have sympathy for the heroes. And they're like, what? We say them 1,000 times.
That's
she's
insane.
She's like, yeah, but like a lot of them felt that you were kind of like boisterous and lording it over them, and a lot of people were jealous of your powers, and some people think like you losing them is an act of God, some kind of leveling playing field situation here.
It's called hubris.
Yes. So everyone's pretty sad about it, and they're just really bummed. Kyle can't handle it. He's still at home, never goes to the meeting. Kyle just stays in his apartment for weeks in his Green Lantern costume. Jen is like, you need to change. You're starting to reek. And he's like, never! I need to figure this out. He gets like a microscope. He's like looking at the ring like he's going to do anything. Look, dude, you're an artist. I get it. I appreciate it. But you're not a scientist. You're not going to find... Let's say you did find like a crack in the ring. What are you going to do? You put some epoxy in there?
If any of the clay faces were there?
I guess they're normal again.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not just lumps of clay.
No, they go back to where they were, what they were. Okay. Like Rex Mason.
Right.
He's like, this is awesome. I'm going to get me paid and laid, which is a big subplot.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay, no, never mind.
So John Henry Irons, he builds his steel suit. He's all good to go. They get this Toyman attacks Lex Luthor in his high rise, and Steel's like, I'm the only Superman, so I've got to get involved. And his niece is like, you're not even close to healed. And he's like, doesn't matter, I gotta go. And you're like, well, we're setting things up. So he springs into action. And I love this idea where I'm like, yes! Because Steel was a Superman replacement when he was invented. This would be really cool to see Steel being like, I'm Superman from Metropolis now.
I'm the only Superman you got, too.
I'm the only Superman. I'm the last best Superman you have. Instead, he sucks and dies. So
what?
Yeah. We see characters like Supergirl, Linda Danvers, not Kara Zor-El, and she goes home and she's like, I'm not super anymore. I guess I'll join the police force and be a cop. Cool. That's that.
Hey, can I also live here?
Well, she does live there. She has a family. Like, she's not Kryptonian in any way. So Toyman builds a giant robot, which is a fun opportunity for us to do some kind of classic Golden Age stories. Steel engages the robot to protect Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor's in his high rise, like, nah, Toyman, you suck. You're never gonna kill me. It's fine. I got plans within plans. Steel's arm is broken in midair, and he's like, oh man, that arm was broken already, and now it's rebroken. Now I can't even move it. And then basically,
I should have listened to my doctors.
I should listen to my niece. I didn't even have doctors at this point. But yeah, no, Steel is just beaten until he is dropped to the ground and then squished by a robot. And the sequence in which Steel is killed is horrific because it is completely structured such that you imagine that Steel will be rescued at the 0 hour, but instead he is just squished by a giant robot. On national television, no less. So we're seeing the twilight of the superheroes here, ladies and gentlemen. Even our greatest hero, Steel, fell to the might of Toyman in a robot suit. So Booster Gold and Blue Beetle spring into action, and they're like, we're the greatest and coolest, let's do this. They try to fight the robot. they lose to the robot. The robot like breaks the spaceship flying vessel that Blue Beetle flies around called the Bug. Booster Gold's power gauntlets and stuff are attacked. Oh, also the robot is a Trojan horse, and his tummy opens up, and all those villains we saw earlier jump out and attack Blue Beetle and Booster Gold.
That's great.
Which is fantastic. And this is what we're talking about when it comes to like who hired whom. Toyman hired the villains to help him kill Luthor. Luthor hired the villains to protect him from Toyman. So they took the Toyman job and then took the Luthor job. So they're like, we're going to keep up appearances until you inevitably lose, and then we'll work for Luthor and protect him. So they attack Booster Gold.
Luthor must also love the fact that Superman is not Superman right now.
He doesn't even know what Superman's up to. And it's really frustrating because Luthor doesn't mention it at all.
That is such a wasted opportunity.
That's this book. It might as well be called JLA, Wasted Opportunity. Because every idea that is presented is a solid pitch that is then just squandered. So they break Booster Gold's power gauntlets and they're tearing his suit, which of course Doomsday did and rendered Booster Gold practically useless. Because of course, like, I can't go to the future anymore. I can't get another one of these, but I used to have Star Labs that could approximate future tech. I guess if they have access to it, they can approximate it using super science that they have at their disposal. But it's got to be inferior, and when he was on Justice League Task Force, his suit was like bulkier and uglier because it was trying to approximate it, and it's like, look, if you're trying to make like a, an SD card in 1987, it's going to be the size of a warehouse, So it's like, it's going to be that in the suit form. We don't deal with that, but we do off-screen reference that Star Labs somehow, related to the superpower situation, also goes belly up. So
what?
We can't rely on Star Labs anymore.
Why?
It's technology.
Right?
It's all they are.
Yeah, but like Double X, the telepathic alien guy, is in there, and I guess he's useless now. I don't know. It doesn't come up. No one shows up. No one talks about it. All we find out is that Luthor acquires Star Labs and then uses it as a base of operations for the villains. That's it.
Okay, does Wave Rider come up?
No.
Damn.
No, and he should because he was on Earth and he could have like come here and maybe taken them back in time.
I'm just figuring like, all right, so powers aren't working.
Right.
What about time travel?
Right, like a time machine should work.
Right.
And there are some, but they don't come up. Well, like the Cosmic Treadmill, which can't be operated because no one's fast enough to go on the Cosmic Treadmill.
Right.
But Wave Rider could pop in and be like, hey, what's up? Because it's not like the Blacklight event is like the Dark Ages Marvel comic story that keeps like a consistent EMP going that always keeps technology knocked out. No, everyone who is on Earth loses their powers, and then it's over. So anybody with powers outside of Earth could come to it, but they don't.
Oh man, they'd get invaded so hard.
Yes!
Yeah, where's Lobo?
Right! None of those things happen.
Just the main man.
Just being like, I own Earth now. Who's gonna stop me? Booster Gold? I think not.
So, okay, do the gods still exist here?
We don't hear from them, see them, or even reference them. You're talking about like Zeus and Ares and so forth, never comes up. And in fact, you're going to see a heel turn from Wonder Woman that I think you'll be surprised to find.
I'm also thinking about like the Endless as well. They're not gods, but
dream, death.
Yeah, like does death still happen?
I
mean, obviously it does.
Yeah.
Look at Steel.
So Booster Gold and Blue Beetle get their asses handed to them by a giant robot and also the evil supervillains from within its tummy, and they just try to make a break for it.
I'm sorry, hearing them come out of its tummy is just hilarious.
What? Jump out of my tummy. It's my action feature. So Lex Luthor deploys his private security force, which is canon, and that is fair.
And they have a cannon.
They do. They have all kinds of shoulder cannons. So they're trying to take down the robot. They're starting to fail. None of them get close enough to the robot. And then Hawkman shows up because his powers are tech-based.
No,
are
they're
they?
Not. Those are wings. Those are not robotic wings. He's not Archangel.
That's true, but are they biological wings? And if so, those wings are biological.
They're biological.
Those wings flap.
He should be able to fly.
Right.
Because the bones have to be hollow, I guess.
It doesn't come up. He doesn't have hollow bones. It's just that he can fly. I guess they're just super strong wings, or they're technology based. At this point that Mensch is referring to, Hawkman has a effed up history. Because 0 hours happened, we've collapsed all of the Hawkmen, which includes aliens and reincarnation and so forth. just whatever. Okay? So Hawkman shows up. So Hawkman's the new Superman, right? Wrong. He just shows up, grabs a bazooka, gets closer, blows up the robot, and then Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, like, Laurel and Hardy out of the way of the falling robot, like, nah. Dignity thy name is Booster Gold. And so they haul off Toyman to jail. But before he goes to jail, Lex like, let me talk to him really quick. And they're like, sure, you're Richard Wyatt, I don't see a problem with it. And so he leans into Toyman's ear and he goes, you're a fool and a failure. I hired your hires. That's why they turned on you. You'll never beat me. I'm always going to be better than you. And that never comes up again. It's just a moment we dedicate to allow Lex Luthor to further emasculate and humiliate Toyman. Toyman just goes, what? And then that's it.
That is good.
Oh, while Booster Gold and Blue Beetle run away from the robot, they're like, oh, look, there's Steel. And they go to him and it's like, he's squished. They're like, ooh. And I'm like, why did you even do that? Like, why did you even reference it? We saw him die. They said it on TV. And then we have Booster Gold and Blue Beetle like find him. And I'm like, maybe they'll discover him. And they're like, he's mostly dead. We can put some bellows in him and ask him what he wants. But instead, they just find he's squished and mangled. And I'm like, that's horrible. Why did you do that?
Can opener.
I love that that Blue Beetle goes, Steel's dead, and Booster Gold just goes, yeah.
Yup. So Lois tries to appeal to Clark. And she says, I wish I knew how you feel. And Superman says, yeah, I'm sure you do, but you never could understand how I feel because you're just a human. You'll never understand. And so Lois tearfully takes her wedding ring off and then hands it back to him.
Here you go.
And then he says, I had the strength to be able to crush coal and make diamonds, and now, and he squeezes the diamond and just cuts him. Now, it just hurts me. And he drops his bloody ring on the floor and she leaves it there for days.
What an asshole.
So he just leaves. He goes, sorry, Lois, goodbye. Walks out on her and leaves her forever.
Listen, if I can't be like a god to all of you,
Then I might as well be dead.
then I don't give a crap about you or anyone else.
That's Superman.
That's
Apparently it's not love. You're just a pet.
Yeah.
my entire identity is just being better than all of you.
That's why I'm Superman. I'm better than.
Ma Kent would slap the fuck out of him.
I agree.
And you'd feel it this
And
time.
it would, yeah. This is
Clark,
real.
I've wanted to do this for a long time.
Bend over knee, just give him a good old spanking. So Martian Manhunter goes to visit with Steel's niece. He's just like, hey, sorry Steel died. She's like, yeah, it's been a while. Like, it's been a couple of days, and I haven't been able to bring myself to go to the lab. But whatever he's been working on, I can give to the League. Maybe they can make Steels and stuff. They get there. You should have gone there maybe a couple days earlier because it's been ransacked. Steel's lab is gone, all of his tech, all of his blueprints. No, sorry, honey. You'll never be Steel 2. No one's going to be Steel, or everyone will be Steel. They're ransacked. All of Steel's technology is stolen and gone, and Jean's like, damn it. We check in with a couple of characters, Billy Batson, for example, who, by the way, is a little boy and also a radio host.
But he's a little boy.
Yeah, and he has access to a Dynamite AM station.
Hey, everybody, it's Billy Batson.
Yeah. Woo!
Today's news, I got really hard homework.
So Superman immediately goes to Wonder Woman's house, and he's like, hey, she's like, hey, we used to be super, but now we're not. I guess we should fuck.
What?
So they do.
What? Clark is married!
Not anymore. She took her ring off, and I squeezed it.
That's not what that means,
That's
man.
Kryptonian divorce. You give me the symbol of our marriage,
And
tearfully.
I bloody it.
I get my blood on it, and then leave it on the floor for 3 days. Listen, I don't make up the rules here, okay? My dad told me in a crystal. He actually even says, I thought about going to the Arctic and just sitting and dying outside a door I can't open anymore because I can't pick up the big key and unlock it.
Yeah, but he could probably crawl through that giant hole the key fits in.
He had to get up there. So,
Bring a long ladder,
by
man.
the way, the melodrama is on full blast in this book. He says, if we're both feeling the same, cut off and alone, perhaps we could be alone together. Not single.
But alone.
You are the
horrible.
worst.
It's a bad soap opera.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's an Elseworlds book. This isn't even Superman.
No.
I don't know who that is.
That's when we find out, like, he's the robot, not the robot version. What's the other one? The
The Eradicator?
Eradicator
Yeah,
Superman.
Superman's in a pine box in the middle of Metropolis. So Guy Gardner opens up a bar called the Warriors Bar. I think he did in the comics as well when he was the Warrior. And it's on Earth, and he's having a good time just running a bar. So Blue Beetle and Booster Gold are like, well, I guess the jig's up. So they go hook up with Rex Mason, formerly Metamorpho, and they go and get Blotto at Guy Gardner's bar. That's it. They just get completely hammered.
Do the waitresses there dress like
Green Lanterns?
Okay.
Yes, that's right. That's Guy's requirement. There's also the candles in the middle of their tables are Green Lantern batteries.
I mean, it is a lantern. It makes sense.
Yeah. So Booster Gold comes up with a brilliant scheme that they're going to reverse engineer their technology because they're shitty superheroes. Because nobody remembers Justice League International or any of those other classic stories of those characters where they were heroes with the technology they had available. They're basically like, we're outnumbered, we're outgunned, we might as well cash in. Let's just reverse engineer our crap and we'll sell it back to the Justice League and those people who want to have powers.
You're not smart enough to do that.
No. So everyone gets drunk. Rex is just happy to be normal again, but also can't stop whinging about how normal he is and how good he feels. It's a weird characterization, and it's weird to keep him in here because you don't have anything to do with him. He never really comes up outside of being a victim.
You know why he's there? Like Rex is there, you mean? Or is he the one who's talking about being normal?
Yeah.
Or is it okay? Because he's the complete opposite of Clark.
No, that's true. Yeah, no. Clark is like, I'm not super anymore. I'm garbage. Rex is like, I'm not super anymore. That's awesome because I'm not gross looking anymore.
Yeah.
Finally.
I don't know what you guys are complaining about. This is the best.
Yes.
Metamorpho
Right.
can turn his arm into a diamond-tipped drill that spins around.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he can't just make himself look normal?
No, that's right. Something he can't do.
Why?
Because dramatic irony.
There's a really sad story in Sandman that involves Element Girl, who is like a version of Metamorpho or a Metamorpho. I don't know how she's related to that character.
Yeah.
It involves talking about that.
Okay.
Is
it fucked up?
It's really sad.
I mean, it sounds like a Neil Gaiman situation because Gaiman also did that in 1602 where he's like, sorry, Ben, I'm afraid you're just more interesting this way. No matter what I do, I feel like something would stop me. And it's like, that the story won't let you ever not be the Thing. And so it is with Metamorpho. The difference is, the Thing is part of a quartet of heroes whose books sometimes sell, as opposed to Metamorpho, who is part of a book that never sells. So you could get away with making Metamorpho not have powers. So the bar devolves into a big bar fight. There's a misunderstanding, or actually it's just an act of bullshit where one of them throws beer in the air in celebration and hits a biker. And
is it an act of God?
Oh, everything's an act of God in this book. So Guy Gardner's like, hey, knock it off, everybody. And then the fight breaks his Guy Gardner statue. That's right, he made a statue of himself. And
you know what? It's his bar.
Exactly. And so Guy jumps into the fray and he just has a good time.
Guy Gardner, really, it's okay to get rid of that statue because that's really celebrating the worst haircut he's ever had.
It's true.
His hair looks a lot better now.
It does look better now. I will admit that. Look, the Superman Lois thing, right? Obviously, Superman jumping into the arms of another woman immediately upon being threatened with the idea of their relationship being on the rocks would be grotesque. We got to also make Lois the bad guy too. Lois can't bring herself to love him. That's why she couldn't really comfort him properly, because she was more enthralled with the super part of him.
This sucks.
It's a massive Elseworld story that people need to know about. These are cautionary tales.
I like that you were about to say that people like.
No, but they need
But
to
they
be
don't.
aware of it.
Ethan was supposed to be here today.
Yes. Linda Danvers is a cop. She goes through the ranks. She's doing her thing. She's being she's catching a perp on foot.
She's already a cop? Oh, excuse me, I'd like to be a cop.
6 months.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
I
6
was
months
like,
passed.
is that enough time?
no.
But her dad is a cop, and
Oh,
they're
sure,
corrupt.
Yeah, he pulled some strings.
Exactly. So
Come on, make her a cup.
come on. We need
Come
all the
on.
cops we can get out of this now. So she's a cop, and she's like, this sucks. She's just wheezing and retching over how fast she had to run and how much work it was and how many hours of paperwork it took. We're setting up that, she's trying to fight the good fight. She's like, no, I was a superhero. Now I'm just a hero, I'm gonna do my job. This sucks.
So okay.
But I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. Wait, this sucks.
I'm gonna guess that the message of this book isn't that all of the heroes get a greater
understanding and respect for their powers?
For not only their powers, but for
Batman.
For those among their ranks who don't have powers and what they do.
You could argue that that is something that is in this book, though no one says it or feels it outwardly.
So no.
So no.
Oh, okay.
So Guy Gardner writes a best-selling tell-all book about being a superhero, and so he's cashing.
Guy Gardner's really doing well.
He's doing well. He's a business owner.
Yeah.
He's an entrepreneur. And he was smart enough not to tell every story in the book, so he's releasing yearly volumes of what it was like to be Guy Gardner, Justice League, or Green Lantern.
And no one can just come over and
Kick his
laser
ass.
vision him in the forehead.
No one can argue with him. So Wally West is tormented by nightmares of the cop he let die, who is, looking for revenge. And
Yeah. Meanwhile, his mom's in the background just being like, how about me?
Okay.
No nightmares about me?
That's Barry.
Damn it.
Aquaman, Arthur here.
Yes.
He can't return.
He can never return. He's like, I can't go back. I don't even know what's happened to them. Like, are all the Atlanteans dead?
Like he can't go
Shouldn't
home.
they also be dead?
They probably are. It never comes up.
Wait, but they shouldn't be. They're just
that's
a
what
different species.
Yeah, but Jean is a Martian. Martians naturally transmogrify, but that's a power technically, so he's just a Martian.
So what? Like,
Yeah. That's right.
I guess also the Amazons don't exist.
Well, they don't come
Right?
up. Maybe they can't communicate with the outside world. They're on Earth, so they must lose their powers. They must go, if they drank out of the wrong grail. They're just like, like, we don't know. It never comes up. Again, no, your review of this book is perfect. Just act of God. That's what this is. So they keep having meetings.
but that's stupid because that's just a speed. That's just being like, okay, cheetahs don't run fast anymore too.
That's power.
That's a power. Oh, they're so fast.
Because they're faster than us.
I mean, they can run 250,000 miles an hour.
That's
And they can fly.
The problem.
They turn invisible?
The problem is, the book is called Act of God. Everybody keeps referring to God. The fact is,
Dude, God better show up in this book.
don't hold your breath. Because you don't have the ability to hold your breath either.
Don't pass a collection plate before you checked your pockets.
That's right.
But I get Arthur being. He should be
Upset.
very upset.
He is upset.
He has every right to be upset.
Well, and then those weekly meetings at the Watchtower.
And he should be like, shut the hell up, Clark.
No one has seen Clark. No one has seen Clark in 6 months.
And no one's worried about that. No one's like, hey.
They just assume he died. Nobody knows. And Wonder Woman used to go to the meetings, but she stopped ever since she started shipping Clark.
If no one knows, why doesn't Batman know? Why doesn't Lois know?
Yeah. So
No
the
one
heroes,
bothers.
That's right. So they're all talking about how crappy things are and how they're all meeting weekly. They liken their lamentation of the loss of their powers to being like an alcoholic, being sad that they can't drink anymore. And Aquaman's like, we're not alcoholics. We're dead. We're not useful. We can't go back to where we came from.
I'm missing a hand.
I'm missing a hand. That's not even a power.
My hand didn't come back.
You are not going to believe the twist this book takes. So, the heroes are all whinging on the Watchtower, and they're talking about how useless they are without powers. And then Danvers is like, well, I mean, tell that to Batman. They're like, oh my God, that's right. So the Joker teams up with the villains that were working for Luthor, and he's like, dude, he is way more cogent and less chaotic than ever before. This might as well not be the Joker. It's just, he wrote the Joker on the page, so it's the Joker now.
Obviously, his instabilities and whatever was happening in his brain was a power.
That's right. Yeah, his super madness. So he's like, here's the plan. We're going to steal technology, steal weapons, and just take over. We're going to be more effective than ever before as long as we don't lose our resolve and act more aggressively than ever before.
Yo, has that ever worked against Batman? Because Batman didn't lose his powers, man. He didn't have any.
As long as I don't go to Gotham, I think we'll be fine.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's what they do. So he's like, yeah, we're just gonna do that. We're gonna take over the world by being effective. This is the worst panel in the entire book. Joker fires an Uzi in an act of as a way of punctuating his point.
Yeah kind of thing.
And then takes the barrel of the gun and encircles it with his tongue, burning his tongue. It's just, there it is.
Okay.
Cool.
So the team of remnants of the Justice League that used to go at the Watchtower who were just like, oh yeah, literally, the end of chapter 2, they go, oh yeah, Batman exists. So they go to the Batcave, and they're like, all right, Batman, what do we do? And Batman's like, it won't be easy, and you probably won't succeed.
Get out of my cave.
Right, like, he doesn't say get out. He's like, I'm willing to train you and help you, but you're probably going to suck at it, and even though we're in my cave and I know you guys, I'm gonna still like strike crazy poses on my own stuff.
He's like, yeah, this is where I practice.
I am the sensei.
That's right. But he's just like, yeah, let's do this. And Jean's like, I think we know what we're doing, Batman. He goes, no, you don't. Not yet. It's very much like, I'm not afraid.
Oh, you will be. You will be.
Exactly. And then they're all like, dude, like you have gizmos and stuff. Like all we need to do is just like train and get some stuff. And Batman's like, oh yeah? You mean like guns? And they're like, no, we hate guns. And he's like, good, because I also hate guns. And I'm like, yeah, we get it.
We know that, man.
Aquaman's like, I'm already swole.
Yeah.
So like, step one for Arthur.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, where do we start? And Batman's like, you're gonna have to get in shape.
Arthur's like, can I use a harpoon gun though?
Yes, that is okay.
That is not a gun.
That's not a gun.
I'm perfectly fine with bows and arrows, apparently.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bow and arrow didn't kill my parents.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right. So they're like, all right, what's first step? He's like, getting into shape. And they're like, oh, look at us. And he's like, no, you were naturally augmented by your abilities. You have muscles you don't know what to do with. Robin, set them up with the beginner's regimen. So, yeah.
I mean,
And
honestly,
by the way,
if Robin can kick your ass,
you need training.
You need some
It is
training.
Tim, but like, here's the thing.
Sorry, Tim.
This would have been really fun if Wayne Manor had suddenly become the new Justice League headquarters because we have like 1,000 rooms. But no, these people who were heroes, who had jobs or didn't, have to get apartments and jobs. And when they're done training in Gotham at Wayne Manor in the Batcave, they have to go home.
No.
No, that makes
Gotham is far away.
Right? Like,
And
Wally,
they can't get there fast anymore.
No, Wally's here. I'm like, Wally lives in a completely different city. And he has to come here every day and train? No, he moves in.
Wait, they still have teleporters.
That's
Can't
true.
they just put teleporters places?
We have to assume that's what's going on because, like, they don't explain. Like, we don't see this group, including Jean, like, on the bus.
Yeah.
Like, going to Gotham every day. So...
Yeah, they got carpool set up and things.
Every so often, we will also check in with Sonar 2, who is not involved with any of the other villains. He's just like, I beat Green Lantern within an inch of his life, so I'm feeling myself. And so he just goes off and just starts robbing places, and he's having a ball. Meanwhile, Kyle is also going further unhinged in his own apartment, just losing it. Oh, Jen walks out on him. She's like, I can't.
Thank you. It's been 6 months of him bitching.
Good for her.
He's still wearing that costume. He's still refusing to admit that he has lost, and he's just like, ah! Sonar's out there, and he is being more effective now than ever. So I've got to, I don't know. It's just he's laughing in my face. So the heroes are training while he's frustrated. You know, he's not beating his best time, haha. And he goes to Batman and he's like, dude, this is tough. And Batman's like, yeah, it's going to be tougher. If it's so tough for you, you should quit. And he's like, okay. So then Wally leaves.
What?
Oh, I should also point out that the group of people who decide to go, including like Linda Danvers, Wally West, John Jones, Aquaman, they call themselves the Phoenix Group. Because they're like, we're going to rise from the ashes of our powers and find a new identity. They say that before they even meet Batman.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you should know their team is the Phoenix Group. As opposed to just being like, we're going to be the new Justice League.
The Phoenix Group sounds like a consulting firm you hire to like do crisis management when you have like someone who says something inappropriate.
Exactly.
We're the Phoenix Group. We'll help you rise from the ashes of your controversy.
Thank God. Yeah. Someone's going to take that now.
Clark's going to need that.
So Ray Palmer, the Atom, who hasn't been in this book yet, goes to Lex Luthor because he heard that Luthor is working on... Actually, he doesn't know that it's Luthor. He goes to ZenGen Biotech Systems Incorporated.
Ah, but you didn't follow the files.
Yeah. No, they try, and then they look a little harder, and then they find out it's all owned by Luthor. But, like, Luthor helps fund this group of scientists who are working on trying to replicate superpowers.
Luther is sitting in front of the giant head of the Toy Man robot.
Yeah, it's a trophy. He built it into his, like, aesthetic.
I have a question.
Oh, another one?
Yeah, I have many questions, but this is the one I will ask for now. if within this time frame, if two people who were
who were superpowered had a baby and the baby was born.
Right, good question. That does come up on the last page of this book. So
okay, because I was gonna say also, like, what if you had like a similar accident to like one of the Flashes? Like, how come these guys aren't trying to replicate what happened to them?
because Doug mentioned think of it.
This is when Superman and Lois should bang and have a baby.
Yeah, right?
Well, they did.
They
that's funny
can.
because we did that in real continuity where Superman loses his powers so he can bang. And they do, and they have John. That's how John is conceived. But no, it doesn't come up. Well, no, remember, Lois doesn't really love him because he doesn't have powers. It's been a source of contention on this couch about how Superman performs sexually with Lois Lane. Because
Exactly.
he would destroy her. And I tell you, he slows down. But
You cannot slow down ejaculate.
he just doesn't finish inside of her. That's all. It's okay. That's why they don't have children, you know?
Have we talked about possibly how it's like, you know, a low dose Kryptonian condom?
That would kill him.
Low dose.
That doesn't mean it would.
Yeah, it's kryptonite light.
I'm not putting that
Yeah.
on Ma Johnson. It might fall off.
It's kryptonite.
Kryptonite. I like that.
So Luther's hatching schemes, and Ray Palmer's at the core of it. While he goes to the Flash Museum, he's like, "This is a money." People are already. It's been like a year or less. It's been like almost a year. They're pushing a year, and people in the museum are like, "Were there ever really speedsters?" It's like the Jedi, where it's like, dude, it was like 10 years. Really, you think the Jedi aren't real? Like, we literally know a couple.
So, wait, okay. People aren't also like, okay, I know we gave them a hard time,
But we could really use them.
but
No, that never comes up.
is
Yeah,
everyone
we
like,
stand by you.
No.
Superhero fund.
I mean, they do keep the Flash Museum open. That's like the nicest thing they do. So Wally is like, all right, I'm not going to quit. So he goes back to Batman. Meanwhile, Ray Palmer is on the operating table. They perform whatever surgery they need to do. And then suddenly, Ray Palmer disappears. And they're like, wait, no, he didn't disappear. He shrank. It's working. Meanwhile, Diana comes home. Clark is just Wonder Woman gets a job on Wall Street, by the way. Because of course. And he's like,
I mean,
"Oh."
she's a vicious fighter.
Yeah, but he's like, he looks down on him. He goes, "How's Wonder Woman of Wall Street squeezing fortunes from the high-tech sector?" She goes, "Maybe you should try getting a job yourself."
I had a job. I was a reporter.
I was Superman. No, she's like, "Maybe you should get a job." And he's like, "Doing what?
Okay.
Like reporting on the failures of Superman and being a crappy reporter?"
I'm not going to look into this.
No.
But like, if and when Superman becomes Superman again,
Uh-huh.
there's no triumph there.
No. I love Diana. Just don't start, Clark. Not again. I'm tired.
Of you.
And he goes, "Yes, already long tired of me." I'm like, shut up. So Ray Palmer.
You suck, Clark Kent.
So Ray Palmer wakes up in his costume in a dollhouse, and they're like, "Hey, their volume being bigger than him hurts him." He's like, it's not quite right. His shrinking powers. He can't shrink smaller. He can't get bigger.
He's just that size now?
He's just that size.
He's like, you know, these beds aren't actually comfortable, right? They're
It's plastic.
Yeah.
it's play furniture.
And so we see there are like 3 scientists, but 2 out of 3 of them are evil scientists. They're not like hand-wringing, but they are amoral and looking for a payoff from Luther.
And that 1 out of 3 scientists recommends the toothpaste that the other dentists recommend.
That's right.
That is to say, he recommends the morality. He's like, "We shouldn't be doing this. This is horrible." And they're like, "Shut up. Like, you're here with us anyway, aren't you?"
I didn't realize they were experimenting on him.
Yeah, well,
I thought they were just like studying him.
No, he signed the forms. He basically gave them access to like his genetic code. They're like, look at him, get everything you need out of him, and then try him out. He's like, "I'll do anything I can do to get my powers back." So they're like, so he's like, "This is not better." And they're like, "All right, well, maybe we can perform like microsurgery on you." And he's like, "Don't touch me." And they're like, "All right." So Ray Palmer's like, "This sucks." And I think it might actually be sinister. Like, I don't think it's on the level. So he decides he's going to try and reach out and touch someone. He's going to call somebody.
Oh, okay.
So he barely escapes. He almost gets killed by a cockroach. And then inevitably, ends up in the other room the scientists are in, where they refer to how the result of the surgery they gave to Ray Palmer is probably going to give him like super cancer. And also they work for Lex Luthor, and he has nefarious schemes involving getting access to other people's superpowers. So he's like, crap. In the beginning, when they all met with each other, Jean suggested that they all memorize each other's phone numbers in case they need to get in touch with each other. Ray Palmer only memorized one number, and it was Jean's. And so he calls Jean. Jean is just like, ugh. Like, I've been training with Batman all day. I don't need this. I don't need to take a call. Answers it. Can't understand what the other person on the line is saying because it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and it's just a little like, little voice on the other end. And so Ray's like, damn it. Then he starts shrinking uncontrollably and goes subatomic, then grows unexpectedly, but he's growing in between the atoms that he was bumping elbows with, and it caused a miniaturized nuclear explosion within the lab, killing Ray Palmer. Now, you think maybe Ray is not killed because in the sequence we see him, he looks regular-sized and not dead, but trust me, he is, and he won't come up again, so don't worry about it.
What the hell?
The scientists run in, they're like, whoa! I guess that's what happened.
Does Doug Bench hate the heroes?
No, because Doug Bench is a comic book writer. So Joker and the villains, they bust into the bar that Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, and Metamorpho are hanging out and getting drunk in. What happened was they kept their secret identities, but Booster Gold saw how well Guy Gardner was doing, so he told a news outlet that he used to be Booster Gold and who everyone else was. And the Joker and the villains tracked them to that location and then held them at gunpoint and took them hostage. Batman is like, all right, team Phoenix, whatever.
Phoenix Force?
Yeah,
Group.
Like, Phoenix Group, thank you.
Oh, Phoenix works because they're also birds.
They all got to come up with their own superhero name and their own superhero abilities and their own superhero costumes. And so who were formerly Supergirl, Aquaman, Flash, and Martian Manhunter have now become a new group of superheroes with their own new superhero names. And they sound off. Martian Manhunter is now the Green Man. And the Green Man is detective and martial arts skills, shock value appearance, and a full range of multi-purpose skull grenades, which he keeps around his waist.
I was going to ask how the skulls came into play, and here we are. It seems very dangerous to have that many around your waist.
I agree. Maybe he has a suicide wish. So Linda Danvers, formerly Supergirl, is now Justice, because she used to be a cop. Her powers are acrobatics, martial arts, double mace scales of justice, and the blindfold she has on helps her see.
But the double scale flail of justice?
Uh-huh.
That seems dangerous.
Oh my god, that would not work.
No. Aquaman's now the hand. He has a wrist port which accommodates a variety of interchangeable hands.
Where does he store those hands?
I think within the contraption itself, because we'll see that like R2-D2, like a buzzsaw will come out and stuff. Or Inspector Gadget. And Wally West...
Hang on, change my hand. Give me an Allen key and just gonna...
You,
I'll get back to the fight in a minute. Just
you
give me
with
a
us,
second.
Arthur?
I'm here. Just gotta find the right fucking one.
He's got like 52 points of articulation.
That's right. And Wally West has become the Red Devil. Martial arts, fearless abandon, trident staff, and even speed, such that it is.
Excuse me, you have a trident staff?
Yeah, because I'm the devil, you see.
Why wouldn't you give that to Arthur?
Thank you.
Yes!
Because my gimmick isn't about a staff. That's just Aquaman without the water. I have to have a thing with my hand.
Yeah, that seems pretty effective.
My superhero name is Hand.
That just seems like Aquaman when there's no water around.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well, does it?
So they're ready to go, and Batman's like, maybe. So
It's like, I think we need to take another stab at those names, but all right.
Mm-hmm.
And your costumes and whatever gadgets you're using. In fact, you know what? Scrap all of this.
yeah, this is just so stupid. You're all fired.
Put the
Let's
Robin.
see if I can set you on fire and actually have you rise from ashes. Oh no, you're all dead.
Oh, no powers. So Oracle calls in, and she's like, hey, Ray Palmer died, and
Hey, Oracle! I know you said 3 days. It's been 6 months.
No, she calls back in 3 days. She's like, there's nothing we can do, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Does Alfred ever come downstairs while this is all going on?
We don't see Alfred.
Or he's just like,
He's so busy cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, he's constantly making meals.
He's the happiest he's ever been.
he's
Yeah.
like, this is great.
So they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll investigate the death of Ray Palmer. Let's do that. Because Batman asks, like, who's funding the lab? This almost becomes a Batman story where he's like, hey, so what's going on? What's up with the lab? Who made that? She's like, I don't know. It looks squeaky clean, which may be a sign that it's not. So I'll look into it more. So Diana, shaken by her weirdo relationship with Clark, decides to go to church. Because now she decides to start worshiping Jesus Christ.
Okay, so that was the twist.
She
has met gods.
Yes. So Wonder Woman goes to church. She's praying. Superman's looking for her because he's like, hey, how come nobody made me my chicken nuggies? And so...
that way.
Yeah. So she's like talking about how...
No, we're done.
I remember the story. So she goes... So he goes to...
She was in a literal event.
Called War of the
Gods.
Yeah.
In which all these gods showed up.
Yeah.
Guess who didn't?
Fought.
Yeah, well, maybe she wants to meet that one.
And
the one that didn't show up at War of the Gods.
The one that got away.
And, just...
Oh, man. This is a thing.
Yeah. So she's like, maybe this is all part of God's plan. I am trying to find some kind of hope and meaning out of this situation. So she's like, all right, like, we deserve this. We were, she's like, we're idolaters, that kind of thing. And so Superman's like, no. Like, I one time saved a little kid from a burning building with my superpowers. God didn't do anything about that.
I came from a different planet that didn't even have that god.
So Clark turns to alcohol and just gets drunk and like falls asleep in an alley somewhere.
Does he die?
No. So
damn.
Linda decides to pull some strings at the police department to get some evidence from the Ray Palmer death. Finds a piece of like doll furniture.
She found evidence.
And she's going to analyze it with science. The science of a magnifying glass, which in the plastic is a message that Ray scrawled, which said, "Lab bad, Luthor." So the scientists move from the destroyed labs that killed Ray Palmer to the new location of the former Star Labs. And also on the other side of like, the building's like split. So one half is science, the other half is the supervillains. And there's this weird like hall of mirrors made so that Mirror Master can use every mirror to go anywhere they want to take anything they need because they're, because they're unstoppable.
I'm sorry, Mirror Master's powers still work?
Yeah, they're technology based or something.
No, they're not!
Moving on. So we see that Mike, Ted, and Rex are now human guinea pigs for them to experiment on them. I love it because the idea was, oh, you guys were superheroes. You must have lost your powers. We'll steal you, because the idea is we're going to get like volunteers of the former superhero community or unwilling volunteers that we will use, and we're going to dissect them and take their like unique biology and figure out like if we can approximate or steal or reproduce their powers. But we screwed up because two of them never had powers to begin with. So we'll just test stuff on those two and dissect Rex.
They don't do any of that. Poke parts of your brain and see what moves.
Right, why not? Meanwhile, Luthor stole the steel technology and blueprints, so Luthor's building steel-based tech to approximate Man of Steel powers.
No. Luthor already had a power suit. A Superman-based power suit. He doesn't need to steal this.
That's right. He should, but he doesn't. And so we needed to set up why Steel's place was ransacked and make Steel mean something. So we steal Steel's technology, lol, and then try to build like super suits out of them. Because the idea is that like now we're going to start whipping up like super powered soldiers that will either sell to the military or use to take over the world. So Clark gets drunk in an alley and he is visited by a priest who beckons him to a homeless shelter where they feed and clothe him.
Oh, do they wash his feet?
They do not, but they do give him $20. And so they send him off because they're like, do you have anybody you could talk to? He's like, well, I had like a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, but she only loved me when I was great and I can't look her in the eye. And I did have a wondrous woman in New York that I could be with. And they're like, well, here's $20 bus fare. Go be with your wondrous woman. And
Cool. More money for booze for Superman.
And that's the plan. And then he sees a fire truck and he watches as the firemen rescue a child. And in fact, in a sequence that is mirroring a Superman sequence, a fireman rescues a kid from a burning building. And they are just as capable as Superman. And in fact, the real heroes are the police, the firefighters, and the EMS agents. So
I knew it was just a 9/11 book.
that's true. So Superman sees that and he's like, oh man, I should learn a lesson out of this. And he does.
Yeah. Too late.
Yeah, no, dude, you can't come back from this. I'm sorry.
So Kyle decides now, a year after having sat in his own filth, I'm gonna start training so that I can fight Sonar. 2.
It's late for okay, everybody's coming to conclusions. Way too late.
So we're
okay.
wrapping it up. So
I can't believe he just doesn't just buy a gun.
I know. He melts the ring down into a bullet and shoots him with it.
Hey, Sonar 2!
Blam! That's it.
Did you hear that?
So the heroes are like, all right, let's go. We got to spring into action and help. And Batman's like, you can't go without an escort because you're all real bad at this. And they're like, Batman, if you went, we'd all slow you down. He's like, yeah, that's why I'm sending Dick. So Nightwing is like, I'm going to lead the team. And they're like, okay. I'm like, okay.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Nightwing, you're great.
So-
You don't need that crap from him.
Right, so the heroes, that is to say Phoenix Group, led by Nightwing, go through the sewers to break into the lab. I love it because they're like, oh man, we got to get through 10 feet of concrete. And the Green Man goes, oh, skull bomb, Nightwing, explosive type. And so he sets up his fucking stupid skull bombs.
Why are they skulls? Okay.
Because they're cool.
Because they're in the shape of the human skulls
That he wish he
of
had.
all the people who hate me that I wish I had.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, yeah, this is what I want, but on a big scale.
Yep. So Wally does recon through the explosive, finds that there's a gate they need to get through. So then the Hand, formerly Aquaman, uses his drill and or buzzsaw and then cuts through. And then they all go in, and it's an ambush. They've been met by security teams. They beat the crap out of the security teams, and they're like, whoa! That's the first bit of superheroing we've done. It's like, no, you beat people to death. That's not superheroing at all. And they didn't beat them to death. They just beat them savagely.
And Nightwing's like, and part of that was because I was here.
Exactly. So they go in and they find...
He slips all the guards $50 for the good performance.
Yeah, please.
Because they're just street performers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no security team here. So they go and they find, through a convenient window, they see their former colleagues are strung up and going to be experimented on. So they spring into action to save them. The scientists wander in and they're like, what? And then the moral scientist betrays his fellow scientists and tells them what they need to do and how they need to free their friends and what was going on here in the first place.
And that guy's definitely dead. Justice here hit them
with a mace in the head at close effing range. Well, because he
Yeah.
had a gun. The guy had a gun. It's
right, but yeah.
Yeah.
He is brain damaged or concussed, to say the least.
Yes.
If
But
not dead.
He is alive enough to set off an alarm, which goes off, and then the heroes are like, all right, well, we need to get the doctor to send these 3 defeated and tortured members of our team, which is to say, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, etc.
Yeah.
And bring them to the lobby and get them the hell out of here before the police, so that the police can arrive and help them get medical attention. We're going to get to the bottom of this now. So then they discover an assembly line that's reproducing Booster Gold's gauntlets and steel suits and stuff. And then the villains show up.
I thought Booster Gold's gauntlets were from the future and couldn't be replicated.
No. They can be approximated, and they are. No, they freeze his gauntlet earlier in the story, and they take it and reuse it. So they're making their weapons. They see that's going to happen. That's the ticking clock. Oh no, they've stolen our powers, or at least they've stolen powers equivalent to our abilities, and so we have to stop them. Then the villains show up, and they've been augmented, or at least Joker has, with the equivalent of a Joker version of Lex Luthor's power suit, which is kind of funny. And he's shooting like a gun that shoots elements like fire and ice. And the heroes jump in.
Captain Cold's like, I'm kind of feeling like you don't need me.
Oh yeah, no, we don't. Cyborg Superman is picked on. Jean hits him, the Hand hits him, and then he is blasted by a polymer that's used in the assembly process that freezes him. So now he's just a living statue, and he's just trapped in his own body for the rest of his life. And Luthor's like, Jesus Christ, I gave these people augmentation and stuff, but they still drop them like flies. What the hell is wrong with these people?
Morons.
So
Oh, what the hell are they doing down
what are
there?
they doing down there? What are you doing down there?
Hey, dummies! Get back in the fight!
Yeah, exactly. So Red Devil defeats Joker, because Joker runs into the maze and he knows the maze. And Wally's like, I could have run through this maze, but I can't. So he just runs through all the glass until he gets to Joker. And I guess because he's wearing special armor, he doesn't die. So everyone's brought to justice, and Luthor is like, oh, time for this bird to fly. And he puts on like a hazmat suit that's part of like, he tries to slip out the back.
He Mission Impossible's his way out?
He almost Missions Impossible's his way out before they find him and go, hey! And he's like, oh.
Because no one else is wearing a hazmat suit, just one person trying to walk away in neon yellow.
Yeah, so the heroes led by Batman have had their first major victory. 2 weeks after that, Jean discovers that Clark has left to go to the woods and become the brawny paper towel guy. And Jean explains that, like,
I had to get clean.
We've trained with Batman. Yeah, it's true. And buy a huge house.
Wait.
Or build
Here's
it.
$20. Go be a hero. Get together with your wife or your good girlfriend. No, I'm going to go live in the woods by myself.
Yes.
The only person who understands me is me.
Yes. Well, to be fair, this is essentially like the equivalent of a Fortress of Solitude for him.
Son of a bitch, did he build that house? Did he become a fucking carpenter?
No, because he does become a reporter at the end of this.
Good. Because if this was just a Jesus analogy, I'd be very upset.
I don't remember Jesus like succumbing to alcoholism, but anyway.
The man turned water into wine.
So Kyle hears about Sonar 2, and he's like, all right, time for me to go. And I don't even need that stupid ring. So he puts on his Green Lantern costume and he goes. Meanwhile, Diana has completely fallen apart without Clark in her life. And
She's like, if I don't have him to be the crazy, I better become it.
Yes, and also, like, God won't hear her prayers because I guess she's used to, when she prays to a god, the god actually responding. And so she's just coming apart, and then Clark goes to see her, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry. And she's like, oh, and you see, like, the bathroom is just wrecked. And she smashes the mirror. It's going to cut her wrists. And so Superman clandestinely arrives right before she's about to kill herself, but instead she doesn't. And she's like, hey, the bathroom's kind of a mess right now. And he's like, it's okay. I learned a lot. And she's like, well, that's good.
It's okay, I'm going to wreck it even more.
Yeah.
It's been a long drive.
It's been a long drive. And she's like, that's good because our child will need his father in their future. And you're like, what? Kyle steals a fire truck and drives it at Sonar and screws up and bails, then shoots Sonar with a flame retardant fire extinguisher, which shorts out the circuitry within Sonar. So now it's just mano-a-mano, man. Here we go. And Sonar beats the living shit out of Kyle. And pushes Kyle onto a convenient scrap of wood, which pierces his hide.
And of course he's a vampire, so
he dies. No, it doesn't pierce his heart.
It was close, though.
So Kyle is stabbed mortally through the midsection, and then manages to defeat Sonar using his bare hands, and then prove that he's better than him.
Yeah, because he punches him straight in the throat.
Yeah, and then
collapses his windpipe,
and then he dies. So Clark shows up at the Daily Planet, and Perry White's like, "Hey, Ken, it's been a while. Welcome back. All right, dust off your old desk. You're back." And Clark's like, "Oh, hey, Lois," and she's like, "Hey, Clark."
Hey, asshole.
No, they're both like, "Oh, sorry. I loved you because you were like a pet. I loved you because you were like a trophy. Oh man, we're both kind of scum, aren't we? Yeah, tell Diana I said hi." And it all wraps up where everyone puts on their
What do you
superhero
mean
costume.
it all wraps up? No! This is not how this story ends.
It all wraps up where all the heroes put on their costumes, they go to the Watchtower, they pour themselves a big old glass of wine, and they cheers to all the heroes who died during this story, including Wonder Woman and Superman who are wearing their costumes, and I'm like, for what reason? You're not super, you're not doing anything. What is that? And they cheers to humanity, and then we see that Clark and Diana's baby has powers. And the powers are, like, nebulous and infinite. Like, at first his eyes glow and he's able to, like, lift a couple of blocks, but then he's able to, like, create an entire city out of blocks. And so it's like, oh, he's the most powerful ever. Because it's Superman and Wonder Woman's baby. And I guess God's like, yeah, it's okay. Because, yeah, like, God exists and he did this.
I hate you.
Listen, I had to read this too, okay? There are ideas. The ideas are never explored, deepened, or better than what we would come up with, but they do exist. And I think that they could generate conversation that might be interesting. This book sucks. I'm sorry. It's in a collection in the comments down below. If you want to read it, I recommend it only in as much as you should know what these things are. There are ideas. Again, no. 3 chapters? Damn it!
What do you mean, act of God?
God?
Does it say that God selected their baby to be the most powerful?
No. We just see that they're they're the first ones to have a baby. Maybe the next generation, if all the superheroes copulate, they will make babies that have powers. Who knows? All I know is, the black light event is the moment that makes everybody lose their powers, and no one can identify where it came from, and no one can specify exactly how it works or why it works so selectively, and why every hero who loses their powers also learns a very valuable lesson about how the real heroes are the ones that exist in the real world and sacrifice, or at least put their lives on the line to help us.
Because you know what? I think it's trash that this thing could take away the powers of Zeus.
Yeah, well, Zeus isn't here. Zeus just doesn't show up.
Right, but if Shazam's powers are from
Yes.
that,
shouldn't they, yes.
continue to exist?
Yeah. But Doug mentioned, think about that. Because apparently, in 2001, if you had a pitch for an Elseworld story and a half-baked idea, they gave you 3 volumes to tell it.
Yes, it just got greenlit. Do you have an ending? I'll figure it out.
No, there's no way he didn't have the ending already. The ending is Superman and Wonder Woman have a baby and the baby has powers. That is the first idea. That is the most pedestrian idea you could have. Is the world loses their powers, and Superman needs to break up with Lois and hook up with Wonder Woman, and at the end, they will learn a lesson, but in learning the lesson, they will be rewarded by having the next generation have powers. That is 100% just that is a pitch, that is an idea, that is not what they should have done, because they shouldn't have done this at all.
So wait, now there's no Green Lanterns anywhere?
No, because of the timing in which this is supposed to take place. Technically, there should be no Green Lanterns.
So that's it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. There was only one Green Lantern already. It wasn't like Kyle was going all over the place and stopping things from happening. Although Kyle did definitely...
Does Sinestro still exist?
Doesn't come up. And if he does, he has powers because he wasn't on Earth.
Exactly, which means there are Yellow Lanterns, and that is still a thing.
Yeah.
So people could become Yellow Lanterns.
I guess that's true, and people are quite afraid. But that would be a sequel in JLA, Act of God. No one's thinking about it. Mensch doesn't think about it. I promise you, don't think about it too deeply. It's a metaphor, people. We're trying to learn something about the human condition, and maybe I kind of want to sell Christianity to you.
But I'm not learning anything about the human condition, because everyone in this book acts like a freaking idiot.
Yes,
it is very
much that.
Selfish dickbag.
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess some of them would do that, but not all of them would do that.
Well, and even the idea, if you wanted to say, because I've heard this, and I remember a lot of people talking about this before we even covered this book. People talk about how this is this factors into the Bat God complex, where it's Batman's the best. No,
he's not.
No, he's not. He doesn't do anything great. If you wanted to make this a Batman wank fest, Batman should have, they should have all been crying on the Watchtower in chapter 1, page 4. And Batman goes, "Shut up, all of you!" You know what I mean? All of you need to take a chill pill and realize that, I've been living this world, only a handful of us have been doing what you were doing with no powers, and you didn't have training, and you didn't have purpose, you didn't, and once you lose it, you suddenly lose all your resolve. F you, and he walks off.
And Ollie's yeah, and he's shut up, Ollie!
Damn it, Ollie! Always following me up! Go back to the Arrow Cave. You can
Make some chili.
But I can imagine, yeah, well, that sounds good. But I also love the idea of, then Batman and Ollie, maybe you do a thing where Ollie and Batman both, irrespective of each other, start training heroes, and then it comes to a head or something. That's an idea, and it also boosts Batman if you want to make it a Batman wankfest.
Oh man!
But this isn't even that.
Make all the heroes that Batman is training use hand-to-hand weapons, and all these people are using firearms.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be guns, but they're all projectile based.
Exactly.
And some of them do use guns. But
Right.
Batman's how could you do this? Be look. Some of them ain't good a shot with a bow,
Right.
but they're great with a gun.
Exactly.
Screw you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's at least an idea. as opposed to what this is, which is just like a bunch of ideas all slammed into each other. Because like you could explore any one of these things. Even the opportunities to be like, okay, let's see some like alternate reality versions of heroes. Like let's see a Aquaman out of the ocean. Let's see a Supergirl with hand-to-hand combat abilities. But like their outfits are stupid, their names are dumb, their powers are null, and it's just like that's what is to what end?
Why did you try?
Well, I mean, I appreciate trying. It's just you needed an editor.
Where is the League of Shadows?
Right, that doesn't come up. It doesn't even get named.
Do Lazarus pits still work?
I assume they do not. Steel could have been the protagonist of the story. Steel could have faced Clark and been like, hey, you're the inspiration for me.
And you also could have made it where it was like Steel was like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
Like, this is scary.
Right, this is hard and scary, but I do it because I'm like, I'm the only one who can do it. Yeah.
What would Ma and Pa say if they could see you now?
Right. Yeah. Steel facing Clark would be really neat.
Right?
And Steel winning.
Right. Or Steel inevitably giving Clark a steel suit.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to show you the ropes, man, but you'll get it.
And that would be a cute ending. A beautiful ending is both Clark and Jean-Henry Irons like smiling and flying at the camera. Like that would be actually really nice. That's a way happier ending. Instead, he's squished by Toyman. And then rediscovered by Booster Gold and Blue Beetle go, ugh! Like they saw a raccoon while they were taking a hike.
And they remove any opportunity for his niece to step up at all. Like,
oh no, she walks right on the edge of the knife of being a hero and taking his mantle, and then it's like, no, Lex Luthor took all that crap.
Yeah, she doesn't even like join in the end where the hero show up to Batman to train, and she's like, me too.
Me too. No.
I have a cause and a reason to do this.
It's weird.
Nope.
No, and I don't think it's like nefarious. I think it just sucks.
That does suck.
So
sucks on toast.
Just like this whole book did.
That's right.
Boo!
Boo, JLA Act of God.
Boo! Boo!
Just imagine all your favorite Elseworld stories, and then imagine how none of them get 2 more books to flesh them out.
And this did.
Damn it.